So just make yourself comfortable and relax your body. And so talking about our mind, so we have to understand that it has a tremendous potential or capacities. And so when we also this mind that we possess and which has an incredible potential and capacities. So we've got to understand at the same time that it is something that always, accompanies, is always within ourselves. And we can also understand that any activities that we undertake in life, or any actions that we create, so this is all derived from, or is really the all the coming from the impulses of this the mind within ourselves. And so therefore we need to understand or have a bit of thought on the type of the actions which we create and the connections or the causal relation of those actions with the type of the mind that which we produce, which influences us to create those actions. So in a way, our actions are the result of, or are really the expressions of the type of the forces that's of the mind within us, and then we can also then see that how when we there are certain actions that we create, so which has the outcome of really of benefiting us, and also has the in terms bringing some sort of peace and relaxations more within ourselves, and we can see, it's good to see that how there are certain actions, these relations between our actions and the mind which predetermines those actions. On the other hand, so we can also relate how there are certain other kind of actions that we create, so which has the even at the time of that, when we create those actions, we will be very we find ourselves very at unease and very even find ourselves very agitated, very disturbed, and also we can also see the trend of some bit the destructiveness as a result of those actions, and then how it's also see important to see how these actions are also then the result of a different force or a different state of mind within ourselves. So how, even though a persons who create those actions is the same persons, but however depending on the kind type of the mind that person cultivate, and the type of depending on those state of mind, the type of the actions that a person create, and then how it appear that the person may then appear as a different person, even though it's the same person, but it's all because of those the mental states and the actions the person create, and how even the person also seems different. So it's simply, because of the a particular particular state of mind, and then through the actions that a person create, because of that state of mind, how the personality of the person then, seems different from the same person but having with a different state of mind and creating different actions. So we can see how, in one moment, that person's, due to the certain state of mental attitude and the actions, the person seems very, even in the eyes of the others, seems very adorable, very pleasant, gentle persons, and not only that, even as individually, that person feels very positive, very calm, and very happy. And whereas and then in the next moment, how when a certain other state of mind arises, and then due to the influence of that state of mind, the person even creates certain different actions, and how this change of the personalities takes place, and which has the very outcome of how in the eyes of the other people, how that person may look very unpleasant, very horrible, and very seems to be very destructive, and also individually how that person's experience because of that the certain state of mind and to go with that state of mind doing certain expressing certain actions, how that personally individually seems experience more peace, more happy, and there's no whatsoever, there's no agitation, no disturbance. So therefore, when we understanding this reality of the fact that how when we think of ourselves, and especially when we think of the other people, how they changes, their mood changes, their action changes, all that. So when we understand this point of view, realities, then at least it helps us to have a more a stable perspective of the other people. We don't necessarily have to. We recognize all these changes that we see with the other people, or how is it, has more to do with their state of mind at that particular moment and their action, but not so much of that person. So therefore, despite those changes that we see outside, our perspective, we can have some sort of stability in our perspective of the things and events.
Then lot of combat, myself, then all got the other, you know what. But then you must stand on Coco. The name of the son of power and the new son to the very yard. Then there's a Pento Chamber, then your leg never moments tells are accommodated. Your leg, a dear tone and son of Pento, I have guessed the tendering, get it tendering.
So the point that we about this fact that how our experience of ourselves and the experience of other beings, how these are the result, primarily the result of our own state of mind, and because it's also even the actions that we create is also the result of the outcome of our own state of minds. So so this reality, this fact is not something very difficult to understand, but we can actually it's just a matter of giving a bit of reflecting on our own life, and we can recognize, we can see that how whenever we are accompanied by a certain state of mind, as we were saying before, how that has the effect of ensuring that we are peaceful, we feel good, and we feel very positive, very happy, and then how a moment afterward when that state of mind, same state of mind, is replaced with some different state of mind, which we can call it something negative. So, and then the effect when we have that is within us, accompanying us, then is our the whole experience then change into something very unhappy and very restlessness. So this reality of this, what determines our experience of the lives. So it's all equal, all same to all the people, all the walks of the people, whether those people are very high or low, whatever they, in any terms, whatever they fit in. But that is the truth, pretty much like universals, and so therefore when we since when we think of the it is also the fact that when we think of the what we when we are all same in terms of always desiring for happiness and or wanting happiness, but not wanting any suffering or unhappiness. So therefore we have to when we contemplate on this the causes of this the happiness and the suffering of our life, contemplate on that, and then we can say that let's say in a day, if there's a 24 hours, and then if we can say that in that hours the how long or the period of the time that we maintained this as we say something positive state of mind, and then that length of time we can be sure that we will have this happiness within us and peace within us. We feel at ease and at relaxed. And whereas on the other hand, if we do not think about this, and then in those periods of our time, if there's if the type of mind that we cultivate, which arises within us, if it is more like a negative state of mind, or destructive and very disturbing state of mind, then it's inevitable that then in that period of time, then we we will our experience will be very unhappy and restlessness ones. So as we say, so this is something that doesn't take much for us to really actually to understand it, and the however, so it is really very important to give us serious thought and contemplation on that, and really to the point that we will gain certain sort of our understanding reach to the certain point where we gain some sort of convictions that yes, this is the true cause and effect. And so therefore, if I wanted happiness, if you want to see more happiness in your life, or to reduce the suffering, so therefore it is very clear to one. And in fact, so this is the understanding the mind and our actions. So in fact, that is really the key of the spiritual practice, and so therefore here we can see how spiritual practice, when we talk of spiritual practice, it is something very directly related to our own day, everyday life. So when we talk of practice or meditation, so it's something has the benefit, immediate beneficial to our everyday life. So in fact, so the really the how well and how effective we can really perform the spiritual practice is much, and also as well as how much our practice will benefit our life. So in fact, it's much depends on our understanding and our conviction in this reality of this, how this our state of mind, how this the positive and the negative state of minds they plays in or their roles in our everyday life experience. So the because it's in our everyday life, we see, we observe, and also confront the various all these the situations. Like for example, even when we with in relation with a person or the companions who we live life with, we can see that how as sometimes the person can be very your companion can be in a good mood and in a very happy, and whereas in the other time in a bad mood and bad shape and very unhappy. No. No. So this will indicate.
Your friend sometimes show very happy, good talk, happy face, happy talking. Sometimes face will drop, his sleeping not really good, or anything not really good enough. That time you think you judge, you think you wisdom, why today he. Yesterday he will go, today no, why you think you judge, he's too mind. Yesterday happy and good mind, all there, good. Today, bad mind is there, no good, you think there. You just relax. No anger. I help. Today, you drink what? Yeah. Inside, very deep. I help. You are happy, no anger. Need that. This I need that. I everyone need. You know. Yesterday good. Today no good. Hardship. You do hardship. You know that. More. He more that. You know happy. Second, you know happy all that. All together that. Too unhappy or funny. Too unhappy. Here there, you very relaxed. You happy man. Then do nothing. Relax. Today we some for many letters. It depends on what she ran for. So that's how we get you know something. I'm more like the social song of my shade. My God, I'm getting more like that. So never matter, much change the California woman machine. Never to change bottom, as he said. Not the little about me, double shooting that. And that,
yes. I feel that the message is not getting across. So, you know how the behaviors or the personality of the other person, how how when they changes, and you know understanding the what's the underlying causes of those changes, and which probably has got not much to do with you yourself, and however yet we see that way, and then if as they changes, and then if we also react to those changes, and then not only this can aggravate their situation, but also you would also lose your own temper, and it only just make the situation worse. So whereas if you understand, recognize the true causes, and they understand that, and if you rather feel more like empathy towards them, and trying to maintain calmness in the situations, then at least you can be said that you are not contributing for their situation to get worse. So, and in fact, through your calmness, it will, help them, and that's something is very important in terms of our practice, and also very useful, very much relevant to apply in our everyday life.
That reason social union is got in a coyan said. Congadum con Jad, Carina, Goja, Tim, and also Kongene Yansachi, Kongenida. No matter Munda, social going others and getting Josh was Roya, Zavan, Zavachen. That Tim Koyan said you are. Goja, Tim, and also then Garo, Soso, non-utility, called cells of Moshe. I'm not in a standing room.
It's the result of your application. You applying these your spiritual knowledge, spiritual practice in the face of certain like a provocative situations where then when you do that, it really, then the result is that it would, the other person would really be quite amazed to see why, if you don't react to that person, if you remain calm and trying to really show a bit of tolerance to the situations, and that kind of thing then would really make that other persons to think about their own weakness, and in a way that how it will also quite surprise or amaze that person. So how could you remain calm And then they might even ask questions. Maybe, lately he or she been doing some sort of practice, meditation or doing making a deliberate, conscious effort to put practice with the patients. And so they can also, in that way, they can also be inspired to follow the same practice.
So today, 제가 거의 편도 심지 기요. 그냥 뭐야라 대만 타는 거라고 이제 뒤치세 얘네 저렇게 레마자데 마야 불스페시스 대만 타는 얘네 진짜 들리 당하는 제가 서서 거는 열려서 봐도 서서 들리고 봐 시가 좀 들리 용하지 나 대신 민 나는 pensar 야배 얘네 야배 로는 얘네 roba kora ta ni shuna ndog so so na chi ten ne ma le ta te ya po le cha ngoma ngana kon de ma ro te ni shuna ya po du so so na chi ten ne je de to mo de de kon ne je na na ma ya po yu san de so so na chi ni ha yong de ya ta son de to de de ta
so in this our kind of the interactions with others. So if we if we maintained into our positive mental attitude and also maintain a very good nature, good conduct, and this way when we do this, then we go to the other person, who, on the other hand, who may be trying to being a bit negative and being provocative, but they can also at the same time they could also see your how you experience, how you interact, your interaction with them. And they can acknowledge, recognize, and can acknowledge your your interactions, kind of your interactions, and so if it's something positive, and they might even as we were saying before, might feel inspired by those actions, and they might be even quietly saying to themselves that I too must do the same practice, and then even they might recognize their own mistake, their own fault, and may even come and to apologize to you if they have made any cause any unnecessary problem to you, and they might also even in a time they might also even thank you for your what you, in the way you have maintained this your good nature in that.
Today that some Nancy saying the say some to in you are some somebody, some children, some Tigo, Shad, somebody, so that they are in the said the acting in Tessa. So they are my yellow pen in Tessa. Not today, this has a Kavaya, Zelam, Shambasa, Ejes, Yambe, Sombasa, Genet, Zavasa, telling on the Lord. And they put out the level, put out the wrong, never change. No swap, she thought you are there. Without Conrad Lord, she thought you says, yeah. Without Conrad Lord, she thought, man, she took a person by any yet to do, no sense that they are money. Without Lord, she thought, she took a person by the man, no sense that they are helpless. One song built. Then they says on what the Natia did it. 다 대리 도데 아니잖아. 먼저 방 맞대되는 가르세는 근로자 맞아서 차도자 제스 대리 먼저 매칭도 넘바 거도 먼저 내시야 패통 넘바 거도요 내자도 참 대대 먼저 용거로 다 제도제 차도제 등 안저도 넘바 거 내가 맛이 맛도 나 패통만 또 써는 사람들 다 내셔 차량한 세세 때 용거야 소소라비 자 소소 제가 잡아 전고연에 시대에 봐 오통해라더니 용거야 로라지 잡아야 게 뭐디가 소소를 편도를 들지 제 잡이 온 게 편도 때문에 용거야 근데 온 게 편도자 자도 온 게 편도 맞아 온 게 편도자 먼저 로제년가 뻗어 용거야 진짜다 넘바 거 소소는 내가 시대에만 한번 맛이 있는 게 로티 뭐 나한테 오늘 나도 깨지던 로지면 좋아 깨지진 로나 소소 세안도 돼봐지 깨지진 경운도 만을 세야 돼야 다 드네는 너이시 이나 드네가 다니 세안 말을 뒤 오늘 뭐 좋아한다 다 같이 지내야 되네 오늘 대리 세세 롱 시드가래 이다 고 내가 세디네 거래
So the so as we are discussing here. So how the our way of thinking, in a way, our way of thinking. So the perspective of the various things and event, and how this is a very becomes a a very important factor for to whether that the situation or would be something beneficial or harmful, or it will be something to or is in terms of our experience, or is whether it's a happy or unhappy ones, and so therefore then the next question is, if we probe into what is the how to to cultivate, how to ensure that our attitude, our perspective is always something very positive one, something beneficial one. Then if we think on this, then we can realize the most the important cause is to cultivating and developing like this the mental attitude of like a loving kindness and compassion to others, and the tolerance to others. So there's so there's all this, if we make developing this very positive mental attitudes. So when we have those, when we enhance those positive mental attitude, then this will have we can see its outcome. We can see of bringing more happiness, more peace within ourselves. And whereas if we look on the negative or a more destructive mental states, then we are talking about like the various form of mental afflictions, such as like desires and the angers, jealousies, competitiveness, pride, and all these things. So we can if we have a look into our state of mind, that various state of minds that we arise, so we can also we should recognize those negative destructive state of mind, mental afflictions, and then see, as we see this, how even though they all are very harmful and very destructive, but in some way they also have the way they harm us is in a way is quite different. For example, when we take into account of a very strong desire or attachment, it would not appear as destructive, as harmful as a lot of other state of the mental afflictions, such as anger. So, whereas in the desires, there is a chance that because of your obsession, your attachment to that, the certain objects, and then in order to fulfill, to contain the desire, so you may do some sort of act of benefit to others, in order to, even though it's a self-centered, but there's a chance that you may try to do something to please to others. So, however, even so, in fact, by its nature, essentially, it is also is a great source of suffering and misery. And so, however, when we can take into account of the other mental afflictions such as anger, jealousy, pride, and so forth, then whatsoever this has got no the positive effect on us, and so it's only there's we can say that when these mental afflictions are not overcome, or they are rather, if they are present within ourselves, even then we can say that we will be our experience, how we feel, will be also very very unhappy and very restlessness, and even if it's if they are, it's such that even if this mental affliction, even if arise for a second, it can have the effect of disturbing or the peace, disturbing our experience, and not only that, how in terms of the force, the dominant force of these mental afflictions is such that when these are present in our mind, then really all the other conditions, especially all the externalities, even if we possess, or we are in a very good living conditions, material conditions, then those conditions cannot even bring peace and bring happiness, and such is really the destructive or the harm that such mental affliction within us brings in our life. And whereas how if we do not have those inwardly, if we are able to remove, or if we do not possess any of such mental negative state of mind, then how even if we externally, even if we do not have all the favorable or good conditions, we can, it's solely by the virtue of certain peace, mental peace and happiness within ourselves, that we can be happy, and we can be at peace. And so therefore overall, so what we see here. So this is how we have to contemplate on the and see the recognize in the contemplation, the recognizing that the the negative state of mind that we generate, which we arise within us, and how they have a strong influence. How when they arise, how then there's no opportunity, no chance for peace and happiness within ourselves. So recognizing this, then we have to motivate. We have to trying to cultivate, trying to say to ourselves that we will take some sort of remedy to overcome that, and then the remedy is a meditation practice, and which is to so therefore we have to think that we will apply the meditation practices. So in order to overcome the dominant force of the negative state of mind. So of course the meditation practice is to overcome all the forms of mental afflictions, including the desires, so which just early on, we mentioned that desire is not as harmful as other, at least in that short term, is not as harmful as other mental afflictions. So this by no means I'm not saying that there's a benefit about the benefit of the desires. So in fact, if you think of the shortcomings of the desires, then again it's even though in the beginning its effect may not be as that destructive, as harmful, but however afterward, as the desire really grow and become strong, then you will find that eventually it's just very find yourself very difficult to overcome, because desire gets so like its attachment to the object will become so like obsessive that you will find it very difficult to separate to the mind from this attachment from that objects. So therefore, it's saying in relation to with the Nagarjuna saying that the pleasure that we experience from the desire is similar to when you have a certain, due to certain bacteria, to the skin, skin get very irritated, but however, if you rub your skin and then you feel it give a bit of pleasure, it give a bit of satisfaction. But however, out of your attachment to that moment of bit of relief, if you keep, scratching more and more, then it will your soul will just like is saying that it will get worse, and so therefore it can like the desire. So it has a similar effect, as you really sink into that, then eventually it will like it will grow so big like a blazing, it's like and then you find it very hard to calm. It like a blaze is so intense that it'll be very difficult to calm it down.
Sandup living, the art of Sandup living, never man, love it, they will. Is that they shall they are somewhere, they shall remember how about it, in the that's on death.
So the analogies of that this Nagarjuna used to describe the desires, of that the skin disease. So it's a very appropriate, very fitting one, analogies in the sense like how, like normally, when we think of desire, it appears like very much like a source of our pleasure, source of happiness, and to the point that without that, then there is we do not see any way to bring happiness, to feel happiness in our mind. So in that analogy, now if you think of that analogy, of course, if we, we can clearly see that it will be better not to have that disease, skin disease, and so to whereas that this pleasure that we give from just scratching the skin is a very momentary, and we would rather prefer not to have that, and so therefore the indication is that how the desire, it is not the case that without the desires that there is no happiness. So in fact, the true happiness have to come or have to arise from the mind of like non-attachment, non-desire.
Then any child, Yola, Ale, guys, Yola, Tom, you know. Trado, Yamo, God said, how old you are. Trado, the letter, and Yell put so by no one tell them, was there by letter, send another job. Told I have so send another job, said lion. I think, Lord, Tasha Tindia. That's something he said. Long magic, call Mazep Logorella, another said Madia relation. Tasha Jamadiga, call Ayapura artist or not said that you. The name of the pending on the Indian, hey, Apuya, you know, that's sort of thing. That's some death on it. God said the name of no Indian,
so the meditations so practice is to train our mind and through this training to transform or to bring changes in our way of thinking. So why? So how? Because if we by changing our way of thinking, then we are also changing our mental attitudes and thereby also we are also changing the emotions that which are attached to or which are related arise from the various of our personal way of thinking. So for example, like we're saying how when a certain so in a way, so the meditation practice, we have to. It's very important that whenever we engage in meditation practice, so our target is to eliminate or is to diminish the as we were just discussing before, how these mental affliction or how the negative state of mind which we generate, which arise within ourselves, and how and we serve as the source of the sufferings and so forth. So it is to target that and to eliminate that and to diminish that. And so in this way we have to think of in the meditation practice. So we have to understand how it help us to overcome this is because through meditation practice, then we help us to cultivate a kind of different perspective, different way of thinking, and also help us to cultivate a different state of mind within ourselves. So, like you think, for example, if we think of the anger, then we say that if you think about the causes, what are the factors which are responsible, which cause us to the anger to arise, then of course there is a cause, there's an object there, there's an undesirable object which is the main cause, and also it is the perspective of the way you undesirable of that object arise because of your perspective, and how you change that perspective, or you shift your mind or divert your mind to a different kind of objects, and as when the mind sit on a different object, how then the anger ceases to exist in one's mind. So likewise, we can think of like all the other mental afflictions, such as the jealousies, and how that arises. Is and first of all, you have to recognize that when we feel jealous, we feel really, we mentally feel pain, and we really agonize ourselves to towards we cannot bear to see the wealth and see the the beauty of the other this object of our jealousies, and so we cannot bear those things. And however, as a remedy to that, it says meditation is to instead of not bearing that, we got to do some meditation where we can to cultivate or enhance the thought of taking joy in the that the fact that the other, in the wealth of the other, in the beauty of the other, and in this way how when we inwardly if we started to to if our attitude with our attitudes to others wealth and the others beauty and so forth is such that we begin to admire those qualities, then just simply this jealousy won't arise. So therefore this everything, all this the negative state of mind or the mental afflictions all arise because of these various the factors, the object and then our mental, the way of thinking of the various objects, and so therefore we can see that in order to change those or to overcome these mental afflictions, and really the remedy is the meditation practice. So there's great potentials to of like simply transforming or bringing some changes in our within our mind in terms of our way of thinking or mental attitude, that we can in fact can really eliminate a great deal of sufferings and the problem that we experience in our daily life. So like we were saying, how if we if you think about this, how when we experience jealousies towards the wealth or towards other persons, how even though our experience is that of something very painful, and we can be very feel very irritating, very negative. And however, when you think of that, is with the jealous of, even let's say the jealousy is normally, if it's directed towards someone that you you dislike, someone that you hate, and if you think of whether simply that feeling jealousy towards their wealth, is that going to really cause any harm or give any loss to your enemies? Then of course it's not doing anything to them. But just to say that how in worldly terms, enemy is something that you want to fix it. So when you feel jealousy, you're not doing anything to challenging them. So rather, the outcome is only just suffering upon yourself. So therefore, on the basis of such understanding, which we do not want, so on the basis of such that understanding, then you think of now motivate yourself to overcome the jealousies. So of course, it's not going to be able to overcome jealousy, immediately. So which is to where instead of thought of jealous, we're supposed to take joy and take a delight, when in the success of the other persons. And so it's not something going to arise immediately, that you will, whenever you see your competitor or your enemies doing well, you're not going to feel instinctively not going to feel positive about that. But however, if you train our mind through meditation practice and try to familiarize our mind with this way of thinking, how feeling jealousy is absolutely no benefit to oneself, and rather how there's a potential there if you're overcoming that and translate that jealousy into a thought of joy in taking, admiring others, then how much you can increase your amount of happiness in your life. So through that kind of training, more positive, thinking of the benefits of this practice, and then you train, then it is possible then to eventually to be able to, if it not arise instinctively, but at least you can prevent jealousies, and you can minimize that. So in this way, we can also understand here that we have to also utilizing our own ability to discriminate the various situations, and so which is the intelligent wisdom. So which is also very important to part in terms of to make the progress in our life, to a step-by-step progress in terms of bringing more happiness and lessening sufferings. So in this kind of, to make a step-by-step progress, so we have to also develop the intelligent wisdoms to clearly knowing, the knowledge of knowing how these certain things or certain actions how can be very brings harm to oneself and others, and recognizing that, and whereas other things can bring great benefit to yourself and others, and so it's on the basis, so we can make such progress, step-by-step progress based on this knowledge. So we now to the usual breathing meditation.
This one to the Tigger, then sell the idea, some to the Kojiti Jana, sell them the Ashesma. Something never think anything. So, some to you, Yellow Madia, then the son to the Kojiti, Maja, Konya, then number good, said, Go you by Yabu, that's on Tindy, don't other she had the so the Lord gentleman did my wood has this pa, Sherry pa, Jude the maternity, Abu, that name, that gentleman said never think was in it, you want to say, Netano, Nenny, the other son of Matata, Kamakase, then I appear.
So in this breathing meditation practice, so we so our aim is to fix or the focus of the mind just on the inhaling and exhalings. So the when we will find that we will experience the moment our mind really stays on this single object, then we will find some peace and the relaxations, or the ease within ourselves, and so therefore it's very important to that in this in order to before we could rest the mind on the breath. So to do that, so it is important to remove or to overcome all the like disturbing thoughts, various thoughts, and so understanding that we feel restless, we feel the lack of peace is that because of all these certain various thoughts that really occupies in our mind, and so therefore such we could have a thought which is related to certain like the things and event in our past or in the present, or our thought might be thinking of the the futures. And so when we have this, when our mind is due to this the certain various thoughts and various recollections of these certain various thoughts and events related to our this past, present, future, then just because of that, then we do not feel this the peace and within ourselves. So therefore, it's important to as we sit in meditation, first you relax your body, and then we trying to bring the mind inward and let go of all these thoughts, and then as those thoughts are removed, then we place the mind on the just on the incoming and outgoing breath, and without being distracted by any other objects. So we begin the meditation. We have finished the time. However, give you room for one question if you have, but if you don't have, that's also fine. Yes?
I was wondering if Geshe could please give a definition of merit and how we should think about what is merit.
먼저 이 소남 소사에서 저렇게 이 소남세에 가르치고 그랬어. 소남 그 소사에서 저는 저다 딕샤 소사 지금 소사에서 저와.
정말 스스로한테 반대는 다 계속해서 소재 주근지가 알아서는 이시 소재 치근을 받는 생각이었어.
So we talk of like collection of merit and wisdoms, right? So these two symbolizes the method and the wisdom required in order to accomplish the Buddha's body of like a form body and the wisdom or the truth body. So the merit, the collection of merit is primarily to achieve the Buddha's form body. So we can categorize our practices, spiritual practices that we do, in terms of whether the being the method or the wisdom sides. So the method sides are those practices which primarily what we call as accumulate merits, and so such practices would include like practice of like giving, like, or the generosity or the moral ethics, and the patience and so forth. So these are called as for accumulating, primarily to accumulate merit, whereas the meditations we engage in to realize the emptiness, which is the true nature of things, reality, ultimate realities, and meditating on to realize the impermanence of things. So these are considered as the wisdoms, accumulating the wisdoms. So in everyday language, when when we are successful, sometimes we use the word lucky. We're very lucky to that we achieved that, we got that. So so which is similar to if you have in Buddhist we say a persons who have enough merit, then will fulfill all his or her wishes. So there is a passage, or in the one that line says, one who has merit will fulfill all his wishes. So what the indication is that if somebody who's got all the merits, enough merit, then with a little or almost like a no effort, can achieve things. Sometimes it could be just a matter of wishing or pray with the prayer, cultivating a prayer, and it happens because of the merits. So such action, like action of being very the generosity is very generous to other beings, and taking care of the to protecting the life of others. How, like, there's some people are very strong in protecting the life of animals. And these are, from our spiritual point of view, these are the acts which accumulate incredible amount of merits. Yes. So even if you think in where we live, is in this country, in Australia, there's a lot of opportunity to help others. Even like there's a how when certain natural disaster happen, like flood or bushfire and all that, and there's a great needs there where we could help others, to help those people who are in sufferings, and also there's also these days there are also a lot of people who are homeless, or people who are lining for even for the foods, and these are things that to involving in these kind of things of helping others is also it's a great way of accumulating merits. So it's very obvious that that our act of giving is benefiting others, because it gives, whenever we give something to others, it gives it pleases them, they give joys to them, and so therefore it's obviously it's a beneficial act for other beings. And not only that, we can also say that if you want to be this day, act of giving can be one of things which can be a very good cause if you want to become a famous, or recognized as something publicly. So that is also the outcome of act of giving. So like the Lord Buddha taught what is called as the four means of gathering disciples. So the first of those four means is called giving. So because the giving, the act of giving to others, then that kind of the bring other close to you, that delights other, and so really you win the heart of them. And then next is after you winning, then you pleasant speech, or you speak them with very pleasing speech. So through such speech, then even you bring closer, and then when the next is to giving the advising, or giving advising them what exactly they need, what really something is beneficial. So which in here, which is to put them into the practice that is suitable, which will according to their own need and their own level. So you put them into practice. But then finally, it also says then you also have to practice what you teach to others, and that so it's like through examples, then you inspire others to follow their practice. So it's like, you know, I mean, even as a parents, you also play a very important role models. So if the parents are very addicted to drinking or smoking, and that can also have may have a same impact, influence on the children's.
That's true. They enjoy it, they enjoy it. I quite they enjoy it. Some more time, some they really enjoy it. They never go outside, that's good time there. They all remember that. Not really happy, they remember freely, they really happy, freely remember. Yeah, the teachers,
Okay, thank you. We'll listen very attentively and